YouTube, W&J's Handy Dad here, and I can't elope because I'm already married. But in all seriousness, this is really good cantaloupe. It's from Mexico, thanks to my South Texas family members who got it, and of course it always tastes better in the Spider-Man bowl from my kids. Today we are going to try to fix this grip shifter on a bicycle. Basic symptom is it's real easy to turn from first to seventh and shifts great, but when you try to shift backwards, you see it takes a lot of torque just to get it to shift a gear. And so obviously the kids are complaining about that because it should shift just as easily as that. So I suspect that it is the cable that runs inside the mechanism, and it basically runs along into there. And what I suspect has happened is somewhere in there's frayed cabling, and so it's sticking. That's my guess. This does not appear to be fixable. I tried every which way I could think of to pry it apart, and it was literally just disintegrating. Pieces were just breaking off, and that was using plastic. I can only imagine if I'd used a screwdriver. So I went ahead and got a replacement, upgrade to the Shimano. This was just some generic one that came with the bike. So knowing that you're replacing this, you would start on the opposite end. So we'll start by loosening the nut that retains the shifter cable. Mine is a 9mm. And it doesn't have to be removed usually, it just has to be loose enough for the cable to come out. And when the cable comes out, it will usually pull outward towards the highest gear. You do want to save these pieces because they need to be reused. But you see how frayed up this cable is, so that's probably a lot of the reason why it's not shifting. And so you see with it released from the rear, you can just slide it all the way out. Like I said, this particular brand doesn't seem like it's user-friendly as far as being able to change it out, like if you were just replacing the cable. Installation is just the reverse of removal. All you gotta do is fish the cable back through, and if you're lucky enough, it will just slide through nice and easy. If it doesn't slide through, you may have to put some oil in there or something, but it shouldn't need oil. So like you see, it's just fishing through. You keep fishing, it'll eventually pop out. See. I'm going to do the same thing with the rear cable guide. And then you need to make sure that the cable goes through that hole in the rear, back through the retainer there. When you've got it through there, you just want it finger tight so that it won't slide out of there for now, because we're going to have to adjust it to shift properly. As you take up the slack, pieces will mate together. And you see just how much slack cable there is. Obviously this shifter could accommodate a large variety of bicycle sizes. Then you just slide the shifter over the handlebar. You have to decide which way you want it lined up. Like the old one sat underneath the brake, but you notice this one has a visual indicator here of the shift, and it may actually sit better on top so that the gear is facing the rider. In any event, there's still enough cable that it can ride on top like that. So I'm going to put it on top there, and that still allows operation of the brake. And then when you have this positioned where you want, there's usually a lock nut to just tighten. A couple things you got to do. First off, you got to find your L and H screws. The H screw sets the limit for how far out the gear can come. So in this case, how far before it will come basically off the smallest gear. The L screw controls how far inward the chain can go. So for example, if you were shifting to say first gear, it would have to come down and in to shift, obviously. So you got to set those screws. Loosening them allows for more travel of this shifter. Tightening them allows for less. So if you turn these screws all the way in, basically this won't move at all. So you want to start with the loosest position and see if this travels through all of the range of gears. So, in my case, it's gone too far because it's actually gone off of first gear here. So I'm going to need to tighten the L screw. You go roughly a quarter turn at a time, so it really doesn't take much. So I think I have it set correctly now because, oh, almost. So we'll give it just a teeny bit of a turn. Like I said, our goal is when I'm pushing on this that I can't get it to go past first gear. So like right now it's in first gear and it's not coming off of first gear. And then if I let go, it should shift back down. Once you've set the screws to set the shifter, put it in first gear on the chain, first gear on the shifter, pull your cable tight. So you want to make sure that the derailleur is lined up with first gear and hold it at that tightness, and then just tighten the lock nut. Obviously it helps to have this type of tool that will hold the cable for you. If you don't, obviously you can use just a regular needle nose or something. Then before you cut all this, you want to test it out. And so you see it shifted down, but it wouldn't shift back up, so it's stopped at third. So the cable is not tight enough because it needs to pull it all the way back to first. So I will repeat the process until it shifts right. So the last step will just be to trim the excess cable and put a little end on it so it doesn't fray. So we're going to do a couple things here. We're going to hold the cable behind where we're going to cut. That'll keep it hopefully from unraveling. And then I've got the end inside the crimper ready to go. So basically I'll cut, grab the crimper, slide that on, and crimp it down. Now it should stay out of the way there. You can always bend it a little bit if you need to. Put the grip back on. I'm just going to spray it with some alcohol. That way it'll slide on and then that alcohol will dry. You see how easy that went back on. Alright, we're road tested and everything's working well. So hope this video was helpful. If it was, appreciate a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber, and please tell your friends about my channel. Thank you very much.